Hello, and good evening.
Yes, good evening, everyone, and good evening, Arpit sir and Prajwal, and the rest, all
Good
the
evening, ma'am.
is my here. Okay, so this is our last final webinar, and a lot of information here, which is crucial for us to put together for the winning performance. So, do you want to take questions now, or shall we wait for some more people to join and take questions later?
I will wait for another 2 minutes or so. I think some of them will join us. Yeah?
Oh, fine, we will wait then. So let's start in the next 2 minutes. All right. So welcome everyone, and to the final webinars on the series that we spoke about on kids performance nutrition and sports. So what we have discussed till now is the basics of nutrition, something that we have to understand the take-home message, macronutrients and micronutrients. We've looked last time at the meal designing and how to put a meal together for training, especially because at the outset, we are keeping this in mind that there is the off season, which is a very short season, the remaining part of the year, which is training period, and the game season may last 2 months or so. So it's a training season which is there maximum. So we talked about that primarily last time and the meal plans for that, and with ideas and things that you could do. Today we are going to look at the game, the crux of the matter actually, that why the game season is on. How do we nourish ourselves for the game, pre-game, during and post-game? Okay. So during the game, we do understand that there's so much of range of motion in football. There's slow running, there's fast running, very quick reflexes, changing lanes, jumping, dribbling the ball. All of that is there, and the heart rate because of this activity is 85% of the maximum through the game. Okay. So which means that the amount of energy that is required in the game is very large. So, and oxygen uptake is also very large. So a person is, metabolizing really heavily during that period of game. And of course, Prajwal sir had a question last time that, what about children who are playing for a less period of time? So the same thing will happen to them too, but of course the duration is not going to be very long. So just in the game, the annual calorie requirement just by playing the game, this I'm talking of the 90-minute game, is about 1300 to 1600 calories, which is what most of us take in a day. That much could be lost during that 90-minute game. And of course, proportionately smaller amounts can be lost or used up, I will say, when the child is a younger child and is playing for a lesser amount of time. And most of this energy which is used by the body is from carbohydrates. So this is a very important thing to understand, because many times you may have heard, eat less carbohydrate and maybe don't focus so much on carbohydrate. But here we need it's the other way around, because especially during the game, the energy is coming from carbohydrate. So of course we will talk about what kind of carbohydrates we have to eat. And the same goes for the midfielders and, the players who are running in the field, as well as for the goalkeepers. So goalkeepers also are always on alert mode, and therefore their muscles are engaged, and therefore they need that energy. And also very importantly, it's also a mental game. So while playing, the person is thinking of how to play the game and where I'm going to pass the ball and which I have to hold on and defend and, make a goal and so on. So it is a lot of physical activity. It is also thinking, it's also strategizing, responding to how the game goes on and strategizing also. And for that mental activity, good nutrition is extremely important. So let's look at hydration first. Now, when we are looking at hydration, what is very important for you to look at is what is the urine volume like and what is the color like. Okay, so throughout the training season, it is something that you have to keep in mind. And training season also, you're always keeping the urine volume good and the color, it is light straw color, and especially when you're preparing for a game. So this preparation for the game in terms of hydration is going to take place 2 days prior to the game. Actually, you're always looking at hydration, but you're going to plan for the hydration right from the day that you have finished the previous game. So every day you have to measure that the urine volume has to be good and the color has to be light straw color. We are always maintaining that. Okay. You can also test their urine for the pH and specific gravity. You get kits which you can possibly coaches can keep in the, in with you, and you can test prior to the game also. That is also possible. But anyway, even if you look at the color, that is fine. So why it's important, I want to reiterate this. It is because 70% of the body is water. Most of the muscle contains the largest amount of water, and muscles are going to be used a lot during the game. And therefore, if it's hydrated, the cell of the muscle can function well. And we want water because we want very good blood volume. We don't want blood volume compromised, okay? Because the blood has to go to every cell of the body, and therefore water is important, okay? So without adequate water, the muscle is not able to perform well at all. And for a growing footballer, that is you all, the champions, what is important is that you need the water for growth also, because if new cells are being formed, cells have 70% water. So we need the water for growth, plus we need the water for the training and the game per se. Okay, so that's why it's so important that we keep the hydration status good. There are a lot of people needing to be admitted. So yeah. So what are the general guidelines that we look at? Look at urine volume, check urine color. 2 to 2.5 liters per day is required. If it's a hot day, you have trained a lot. If it's summer, there's perspiration, you can up it to 3 liters. This is to be mindfully done. Okay, it is not ki, haan, theek hai, I have to drink, I'm drinking water. You have to. This is also for the caregivers, moms, dads, whoever is with you. The coaches also have to ensure, have they been able to drink that amount of water? Because many times we are not mindful enough. We may not pay attention to it. We may be busy with our school and whatever other things that we have to do, and we may forget. Okay, so it may be still all right if it's not a footballer, but if it's a footballer, very important, it needs to be looked at. And if it's a training day and a game day, apart from the 2.5 liters, there's extra water that we have to be consuming. So good amount of water means good performance. And it's also important that through the day, they have to be hydrated. Again, very important. It's not like, अच्छा मुझे याद आया तो चलो मैं पानी पी लेती हूँ, okay? पी लेता हूँ. It is, we are sipping water through the day. So the 3 liters or 2.5 liters that we're talking about, please split it up into 2 halves. Okay, so we are sleeping in the night, all right? So 11 hours of sleep, all right? So the remaining 13 hours or 14 hours, what you have, split it up into, how half, the first half, 1 and 3/4 liters have to be had, and so on. Okay, it is not, I'm remembering now, so I'm drinking the water. How will you check? What is a measure for checking the hydration? Okay, is the weight enough? We'll come to that. Is a muscle turgidity good? Urine volume, color, specific gravity. But urine volume and color is the easiest thing for us to measure. So we want light colored fluid. Now, before the match, what needs to be done before the match? Very important. So this is a little bit of calculation, but it's easy, and it's something that you all should note down. So per kg, whatever your weight is, we have to look 5 to 7 ml per kg of fluid 2 to 4 hours prior to the match, extra than what the person is consuming. Okay, so I think Shiva Priya, yeah, please mute your video. So let's take an example here. Okay, I'm looking at somebody who's 50 kgs, all right? So 5 ml per kg. So you're looking at 250 ml, which consciously has to be had in addition 2 to 4 hours prior to the match. Okay, at least that much should be consumed. So this is something where you can kind of note this down and make sure that that much amount of water is consumed. As the weight increases, the water amount consumed will increase. As the weight decreases, it will be less. So the caregivers can be careful about what the weight is and then decide. So, and why do we take it 2 to 4 hours before? Because then we have time to excrete out excess fluid, because excess fluid means it will become difficult to run. Okay, so it's not only water that has to be taken. We can also take buttermilk, lime water, which is slightly spiced if you wish to, coconut water. But you can note here that there are some nutrients here, there are some electrolytes here, but it is not having sugar. We do not want to take water or fluids which have sugar, high concentration before the match, because as we discussed last time, the moment the water with sugar goes into the stomach, it will bring water from the cells into the stomach because it's concentrated. Then we are defeating the purpose of drinking water. You may feel good here, acha lagta hai, kuch beverage liya, soft drinks liya, carbonated beverages. It may feel good, but it's not doing good for the body at all. Then how do we plan this? Okay, so we talked about pre-event. Now we're going up the hydration pre-game, also we talked about. Now we are looking at other things we need to do when you're planning for the match day, when you're planning for the game day. Okay, so 48 to 72 hours before match day. So our preparation, so you have to already trained. Okay, the training has happened. So that kind of preparation is happened when you're coming to the match. Okay, then actually for the match, what is the preparation? The preparation now is not training the body, because the training has already happened. Your body has learned to play. The reflexes required, the dribbling, the techniques required, all of that has been learned and you've practiced enough. Now, actually before match day, during the game season, what is required? One is the mindset. Your training is of the mindset that you're going to win, positive mindset, being determined and being mindful, and that's extremely important. So that is your preparation, before the game. Paying attention to how you're going to play, and maybe some strategizing, and preparing yourself internally is a preparation, yes. And then is a preparation of keeping your...
कोई काला नया निकला है।
This is Mrudul.
बोलो बोलो बोलो
Requesting everyone to unmute and switch off your videos. I think Nudul, yeah, thank you so much. So your preparation is to keep your body so nourished that the body can actually be, having enough fuel to play the game. Okay, so our nutrition preparation is not just before the game. The nutrition preparation is 3 days before the game. Okay, so in the season country, what we normally see is it's usually twice a week that this match is there, maybe thrice a week, but twice a week is what we are looking at, or lesser. So 3 days before, so the moment the match ends, from that time onwards, you're already preparing your body for the next match. Okay, so 2 to 3 days before, what is it that we want to do? We are understanding that during the game, what we require is carbohydrate, main source of energy. Okay, so usually no training is there before the match. Now we did talk about liver glycogen and muscle glycogen. Okay, now glycogen is stored glucose. So we want to really keep the glucose level, the stores which are there, very good, so that when you require in the match, the glucose is available to you. Okay, so if now this has been studied that if the footballers are having good muscle glycogen stores, they can run faster, they can run longer, and this is especially in the second half of the match. Many times we see that first half, it's people are working well and playing well, but by second half the tiredness sets in. This, of course, we are talking about 90-minute game, but this, if people, your younger children will experience this even in the smaller time interval games. Okay, so now very important, how do we better glycogen storage? Okay, now this is another calculation for you, but it is important. 6 to 8 grams per kg body weight, body mass or body weight, okay, per day. So you can calculate your grams of carbohydrate that you need. So suppose you're weighing 50 kgs, okay, so 8 into 50 is your amount. Okay, or you're weighing 50 kgs, 6 into 50, so 300 grams of carbohydrate is required in the days before the match. Extremely important, which I'm not going to ask you to calculate, but what is important for you to know is you need to eat. Okay, you cannot miss meals, you cannot miss your breakfast, you cannot miss your snack. Okay, you cannot delay your meals, because we want the liver glycogen full, we want the muscle glycogen full. Okay, you want to keep it like that when you are coming for your game. Very important. So caregivers, these are not days where, the tiffin mein chalo kuch aise waise kha liya, yeah, breakfast no problem, don't eat breakfast, it's too heavy for you, I'm missing it, or bahut thak gaya main, so I'm sleeping without dinner. Will not work in terms of the nutrition which is available. And very robust hearty meals. Okay, so there has to be carbohydrate. We will come to that, what kind of carbohydrate can be taken. Okay, so when we start the game, we are starting with adequate glycogen stores. Also remember that while sleeping, we are not eating for 11 hours, okay, or 9 to 11 hours, and therefore some amount of glycogen from the liver will be used up. Okay, so overnight fast depletes glycogen. So therefore the breakfast becomes very important, because whatever glycogen is depleted, you're replenishing that. Okay, so that's very important. So when you're going for the game, suppose the game is in the morning, all right, then a very nice carbohydrate source in the dinner and a bedtime maybe, okay, and then the person is sleeping, waking up to good carbohydrates till you reach the match time. Now if the match is in the afternoon, all right, then you have the entire day to make up the carbohydrate glycogen stores. So we have to keep all this in mind. The deficits overnight are small. We work on it for 2 to 3 days to keep the carbohydrate high. So let's take an example of how much prior to the game. Okay, so this is about 3 to 4 hours is a good meal to be, before the game is a good meal to be taken. So ideally the game time should be, if you want maximum fuel for available, the game time should be maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay, early morning games actually are not really conducive of players' performance in terms of fuel availability. So for 3 to 4 hours prior to the game, carbohydrate has to be given. Now, how much carbohydrate? Okay, so about 1 to 3 kgs per kg. Suppose it's a 40 kg child or a 60 kg adolescent. So 60 grams carbohydrate can be given. Okay, so it just means that what is the, and of course if the children are playing shorter games, the carbohydrate can be lesser. Okay, now what is the choice for a 50 gram is what we are looking at. So these are some examples. You can see how robust it is. We have discussed the meal plans last time. Paratha, idlis, chapatis, jawar rotis, cereal with nuts or plus milkshake. Okay, so you're giving milk carbohydrates, you're giving grains carbohydrates, you're giving maybe pulses carbohydrate. It's not a simple, doodh pi ke jao, toast bread or doodh lo. It is not that. Okay, it's a good hearty breakfast. You can pay attention and design what you like. So therefore, this will prevent fatigue, and therefore the ability to give intermittent high intensity activity, suddenly run for some time in between, all that can be helped. It will help in how to strategize for the game. The brain function is going to be helped. Okay, but at the same time, it cannot be something which is very heavy. Okay, so make sure that the meal has to be easily digested. So we don't want to add a very high amount of fat in it. Okay, we add fat, yes, but not a lot of fat, because fat will delay gastric emptying. The stomach will not empty in 3 hours, and therefore, while for the game, it becomes very uncomfortable. However, they have to eat well. These are some examples. What are the grains we use? Okay, so so parathas or whole wheat bread, upmas, porridges, all these are there. We can put a pulse, and we have already talked about how breakfast has to be put in. Some pulse should be there, some dal can be there. Okay, there are, recipes. Design is something that we can work with. Then potatoes, sweet potatoes, beetroots are lovely carbohydrate rich vegetables. Dairy is there. Okay, we use nuts. You can make a nice smoothie with milk and peanut butter in it. Okay, with some nuts, some more nuts, and maybe a banana in it. So it tastes very nice. So use nuts creatively. Vegetable rolls, sandwiches. Okay, carbohydrate containing beverages, fruit and vegetable juices, a carrot, pomegranate juice. Okay, a juicer is a good investment actually. Good soups, milkshakes, smoothies. All these are carbohydrates, but you will notice that they are good meals. Okay, they are not a halka meal that has to be taken. Now, during the game, so this is what we are doing prior. Okay, now during the game, what we have to be looking at, fluid, also carbohydrate. Now, it's crucial for performance. Now, how will we decide what carbohydrates? I'm not separating out the fluid and the carbohydrate. You can decide to take both of it together. Okay, now, when carbohydrate is not enough and there's fatigue, then the performance of dribbling and running is less. Okay, so how much of carbohydrate that we have to give? 30 to 60 gram per hour. Okay, or when 60 gram is consumed, then half of it before each half it has to be given. So it may even, based on the weight of the child, it may even be equal to 150 to 300 gram before each half, which means that it is a good amount. Okay, but this carbohydrate that we are going to take, before the game and maybe in between the game, it is so, after the warm up and at half time, the carbohydrate that is being consumed, okay, it is a different kind of carbohydrate. Okay, so you're seeing that it is fast absorbing carbohydrates, because we want the carbohydrate. Now we are not looking at, liver glycogen stores or anything like that. We are looking at available free energy, for performing the game. That's what we are looking at. Okay, so let's look at an example. Honey. Okay, so this is something that you can carry to the field also. 5 tablespoons of honey is roughly 60 grams of carbohydrate. Okay, we get powdered jaggery and we get liquid jaggery. We also get date syrup. Okay, so 5 tablespoons of that will roughly give you 60 grams. Now, everybody doesn't need 60 grams. I'm telling you this because there will be younger children who will need less. Okay, and others may need a little bit more. Right? And this is a mix and match. If small banana gives about 6 grams of carbohydrate, so you can even combine with 3 tablespoons of honey and 2 bananas, or 8 dates and some honey or liquid jaggery. Okay, so you can even do that combination, but you're understanding that fresh, fast absorbing carbohydrate is so crucial before the game. Now, this is very interesting that it has been seen that if we sense carbohydrates in the mouth, just the fact that we're feeling the carbohydrate betters performance. Okay, and good carbohydrates will better our decision making. So therefore, if you cannot take a lot, you can take a little bit of honey, and it can be swirled in the mouth as you run for the game. All right, so that sensation of carbohydrates is good. Even drinks, sports drinks will have some carbohydrate, which is also good. You also get sports gels. Many times it is suggested that sports gel is to be sports mouth rinse, actually not gels, but rinse is where rinse and spit. Okay, but even if you take the rinse after rinsing or placing in the mouth, you take it inside, that's also fine, because just a sensation is going to be bettering our performance. Now, this is what I just spoke about is one aspect. However, not everybody will be okay with it. Okay, so you see how much you can go and how much you can take, because there are some adjuncts available to us. Because if somebody, for some people, when they eat banana and dates, or when they're taking honey and banana or so, they may not be able to perform very well, because it may cause some heaviness in the stomach. Some may feel nauseated or so. So these are real things. Okay, so I will tell the caregivers and the coaches, if the child is saying that, or adolescent is saying that, the champion is saying that, we don't say that now see others, no, they can take them, why you can't take. We don't say that. We say that because each person is different. So we say, all right, so what is the option that we have? Okay, so here is when you can go for a sports drink, which is non-caffeinated, and something which has about 6% of carbohydrate. You can look on the label, 6% of carbohydrates. Okay, now you also get sports gels. Sports gels are concentrated material, and it's easy to consume and does not really cause so much of gastric distress like eating a banana, if that is a problem with some people. Okay, so sports gel gives 23 grams of carbohydrate. You can combine it also. Mouth rinses, as I said, and it can be ingested also, or electrolyte solutions, but electrolyte solution with sugars. So Glucon-D is good, but now Glucon-D is mostly glucose. So you can add some salt. It can be with lime juice, so it's giving some electrolytes also. So these are also carbohydrate sources. It's important for you to try these out and figure out what is it that works for you. Okay, but and you will only notice a change. I'm hoping that some of you will revert back to us saying that this is what we did and this is a positive change we found. Okay, so you will see the difference yourself, how you're performing when you are nourishing the body. Now, also when you're giving carbohydrate during the game, okay, liquid carbohydrates with low concentration is the best. Okay, so it also gives the fluid and also gives the carbohydrate. Now, very important for us to know is when we sweat, okay, it is not just the water which is lost. Sweat is always containing electrolytes, and it also contains minerals. Okay, so we will not think of just water. Therefore, it is better to design it. So it's a beverage. Water can also be taken, but a beverage which gives some electrolytes, sodium and potassium, is excellent. Some salt added into the beverage, okay? Some potassium present in it. So if it's a fruit juice, if it's but dilute, okay? So you can take some fruit, one orange. You don't have to squeeze 3 oranges to make that 1 glass of juice. Take 1 orange and dilute it. That's fine too. Okay, so it's a diluted fruit juice. You can add a pinch of salt in it also, because then the sodium also comes in, the potassium also comes in. Now, also, minerals are lost. Magnesium is lost, zinc is lost, manganese is lost in sweat. And therefore, what can be done is when you're looking at a fluid beverage, food beverage, which is not so concentrated, then these are the benefits that it has. Okay, therefore, sports drinks have this with them. All right. So therefore, if you're looking at a sports drink, it's designed in such a way that even magnesium is replaced, right? So I've given some examples here, Glucon-D, sugar, salt, about 200 ml is one standard glass. Okay, 200 ml glass. So 100 to 200 ml every 15 to 20 minutes should be had. Okay, so so those days of not giving the footballers a break to replenish what is lost, or not giving the footballer time to have a water break or so. It's no longer like that. I'm not sure what you all are following here, but we are recommending that, there has to be those kind of breaks so that we are replenishing the body. Okay. So 1 liter of carbohydrate drink through the game, okay, which is about 200 ml. If it's a 90-minute game, 3 to 5 times in the game is actually better for energy levels. Okay. So now there is a half time. All right. So now what are we doing during the half time is very important. So many times half time is used just to, sit and relax, right? Half time is used many times to strategize. All right. So that's important too. But half time is important because we have to replenish the fluid and carbohydrates. Please change your mindset regarding this, that during the break time, you are going to consume fluid with electrolytes and with carbohydrates. So what can we do? Fruit juices is one, but dilute fruit juices. Glucon-D is there, but Glucon-D is again concentrated. Now, what is the magic here is that we take see what happens if you take a concentrated carbohydrate. If you take a 3 orange juice, it's concentrated, okay? If you take Glucon-D, it is concentrated. So what happens is, so I'm going to do a little bit of biochemistry here for us to, physiology actually, for you to understand that when we take carbohydrate, which is coming into the body very quickly, the body will make insulin as quickly. And insulin will drive the carbohydrate into the cells. So carbohydrate is not in the blood. Okay. So what we have to do is we don't make it very concentrated. We make it dilute. Carbohydrate is there. It is therefore slowly spiking in the blood, which is available when you're playing the entire remaining time. Okay, it's not कि वो 15 मिनट के लिए है और फिर वो सेल के अंदर चला गया, because insulin is going to act like that. Okay, so that is very important, that you're going to look at it in terms of how it's going to remain for as much amount of time. Okay, so maybe a small banana with Glucon-D and salt dilute is okay. Or if the people cannot tolerate it, then sports drinks are great, okay, which is slow released. So that is something that you can look at also. So halftime nutrition is very important, especially many times there's extra time. Okay, so it's a very long game when there's extra time. So if the person is not nourished during halftime, then they won't have the energy to, meet whatever is required for the extra time. Okay, so when you all are sitting in that half time, do spend, of course, replenish your fluid, do spend some time strategizing, but before 5 minutes, when the half time ends, is actually when you are going to take your carbohydrate source. Okay, so we have talked about pre-game, we have talked about hydration, we have talked about pre-game, and we have talked about during the game what needs to be done. Now we come to when the game has finished, post-game. Okay, now post-game, what is required is fluid. We require electrolytes, we require carbohydrate, and we require protein. Fat also you can add. Okay, now, so what we have seen many times is, children, after they, or adolescents, after they go to the game, after each game, they are feeling, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they feel that, acha chalo, matlab, my day is done, I need to be rewarded. Okay, so many times they will tell the parents that if they have won, okay, now we have to celebrate, you take me out. Okay, well, let's go to McDonald's or wherever else that you want to go and celebrate, to eat according to this, what is the taste in the mouth. Okay, and if they have lost, then parents may feel, now chalo usko thoda sa, let me just, encourage him, chal jane, they don't feel so bad. What do you want to have? You tell me what you want to have. So either ways, the choice of food is not what is going to prepare this body for the next game. Okay, so our preparation for the next game starts immediately post game. Why? Because there has to be a recovery in a competitive match, even for a shorter duration or for the regular duration. The muscles have worked hard, and while the muscles have contracted while you're running and playing, some muscle breakdown has occurred. So much of sweating has happened, so the hydration status has reduced. Okay, and you have used up your carbohydrate. So there is that recovery that has to take place. Okay, very important. If you do not pay attention to the recovery there, the next game, your performance is not going to be good as it could have been. I won't say it's not going to be good. Let me say it positively. I'm sure you are all doing wonderful games, but won't be as, as good as what your potential is. Okay? Many times we blame people for not playing well, or losing the game or not doing their best, and we blame it on genes and training and mindset and all of that. But many times it is because of not the right nutrition which has gone in. So please pay attention to that. So first, what we will do is that, especially if it's a 90-minute game, after the game, we will check the weight. So I know SSC has, instituted that in your players, that immediately keep a weighing scale, coaches. And, you check the weight. More than 2% of the body weight should not be lost, right? So for example, it's a 50 kg, then you're looking at, the 1%, 1 kg weight loss in such a case. So we don't want so much of weight loss at all, right? So that's one thing we have to see. So somebody who is a 60 kg person, so 1% is 600 grams, so 1.2 kgs if it is lost, then that means we have to really actively work for hydration. Okay. So immediately, where does as soon as you stop the game, sports ground mein hi hai, weigh karo. Weigh the child, weigh the adolescent, okay? See what is the weight loss and start the replenishment. It starts then and there. It's not like, okay, after celebrating and, talking, and after that we are doing, it starts then and there, okay? Are you going to be relying on thirst? Many times footballers do that. I'm drunk, I'm not so thirsty. Because after this heavy exercise, thirst is not the reliable. You may feel thirsty, you may not. Okay, but we have to look at objective parameters here. So what we do is, suppose whatever is the amount of weight which has been lost, which is less, that much amount of fluid we have to give. So if there is 700 grams less, weight is less, 700 ml water has to be had. Okay, if it's 1.2 grams, which is less, then 1,200 ml of water should be had. Okay, so that is, but when? It's not immediately. He doesn't have to drink 700 ml water then, but in the next 24 hours and added, so over a period of time. So they drink some water then while on the way home, they're drinking water. They reach home and drink water. Preferably water with electrolytes is the best. And we don't have to drink large amounts, okay? 1 glass and then sip the water. That is okay, because see, if you have to, very important, if you have to retain the water in the body, if you drink lots of water, what will happen is the blood volume suddenly increases and then it's excreted out in the kidney. It is not, we're not giving the body, the muscles, the space to take it into the cells and repair that muscle. So sipping 1 glass, yes, at that time it's fine, but then continuously sipping water to make sure that whatever has been lost is then available. So that is post-game fluid. Now, post-game carbohydrate. Why are we doing this? We are doing this because the carbohydrate has been lost. The glycogen of the liver has finished, exhausted itself. The glycogen of the muscle has exhausted itself. Okay. So now we start carbohydrate replacement. How much? 6 to 8 grams per kg body weight. We have talked about this before. Okay. But here, that is pre-match we have talked about 60 grams of carbohydrate, or, if you take 50 kg person, 300 grams of carbohydrate. Okay, it works out to, which is not immediately to take 300 grams of carbohydrate, but over the next days, you have to, that is to be taken per day. But now the difference is this carbohydrate is not fast-acting carbohydrate. So we actually do not want to give sugars. Some sugar is okay, as part of 6% sugars is fine. Glucon-D, very dilute fruit juice is all right still, but that's not your real choice, okay? Now what we want to do is, we want to give slow absorbing carbohydrates and good amount. So what happens is, slowly over a period of 1 day, the carbohydrate goes into the muscle, it goes into the liver and replenishes the stores. If we give quick acting sugars, what will happen? It's not going to go into the liver. It will go into the muscle and can get converted into fat. Yeah. Too much of glucose will get converted, but it's not really solving the purpose. Okay. And non-processed. Why? Because if your choice is a McDonald's burger, it does not have vitamins, minerals. Okay. So just the sugar is there, it's not doing anything to the body. So best is non-processed carbohydrate. All right. Now we talk about protein. All right. So if you look at, as I've already explained, post-match protein synthesis is occurring. So we have to give the protein which is enough for the muscle mass and for the repair and to replenish the muscle mass. It's a given. Okay, there is actually no compromise there. All right. So how do we do it? We have to look at, so we look at the fluid. Okay, we manage the fluid. We start with the fluid replenishment. Then we look at what can be given, which is going to be protein immediately. So within 45 minutes, we can start with 20 grams of protein. Okay, 20 grams of protein. What are the examples? We've talked about these examples. One is whey shakes. Okay, so we've discussed the whey powder and so on. Of course, this is, it will be lesser for a child who is having a smaller game, younger child, it will be less. So that's understandable. But what it means for caregivers is that protein has to be taken within 45 minutes. So you can also just send some milk with, you get skim milk powder, but just check if your child is accepting the skim milk powder. You can mix it in milk, it makes it sweeter actually. So you can send it. So we have to be practical over here a bit, because sometimes the child is out for a very long time. So we do not want the child to be, it should not spoil. Okay, so therefore what we need to do is, right now we get milk which is separate. Okay, you get milk in a Tetra Pak, 200 ml ka doodh milta hai, Amul Taza, okay, and many others, right? So that should be separately done. Or you can take a milk drink. Okay, you get chocolate milk, etc. And you give him skim milk powder in a shaker, and there let him make it. Okay, so he has to be taught to do that immediately within 45 minutes. We also have other things like soya protein, pea protein. These are protein powders which are available. This can be given. A liquid protein is best because it is absorbed faster. Okay, so please do not think I am talking just for supplements like that. We may call it a supplement, but they are essentially nutrients. Okay, I'm saying what is required by the body. So this would be the best, but of course, you can also look at protein, which is, so you can look at maybe some grilled chicken or some sprouts or some paneer, various other combinations you can use. Effect will be there, but not as effective as when we are giving whey. Or we give protein containing snacks every 3 to 4 hours. Okay, so that's what snack we are giving, make it count. Right? You have to plan for it. Please plan for it. It has to be mindful. All right. So this will take some planning for the caregiver and writing it down and planning for it. That night, okay, at bedtime, paneer can be given. 30 grams paneer is one and a half inch cube of paneer. It's not very large. Okay, 1.5 2-inch cube of paneer is 30 grams of paneer. And that is seen to better the protein synthesis in the next day. Okay, saute it, grill it, crumble it. You can decide how you want to give. So this is the protein part of it. Extremely important, because we are going to give amino acids through the period of time for the muscle recovery to take place. Okay, extremely important. And we are giving carbohydrates, but not bread actually. Whole bread is okay, but whole bread also has maida. So but maybe a roti or some good millet grain or so would be actually most ideal. Okay. So we have spoken about fluid, electrolytes, carbohydrate, and protein post-game, and how the nutrition starts immediately. Make every post-meal game count. Post-game meal count, okay? Because without vitamins and minerals, we cannot maintain the energy, and we have to nourish for the next match. So nuts, fruit, vegetables as a juice. Beetroot juice works wonderfully. Why? Because beetroot has an ingredient called nitrates in it, and this actually helps in muscle repair. Okay, so beetroot juice is something that possibly can be carried. I mean, you all have to figure it out how far the child is going, or at least when they come back in the night, evening, one glass of beetroot juice is great. Dry fruit and vegetables, flax seeds, other seeds, pumpkin seeds, etc. So some of the roasted seeds and all can be in the house. You just have to throw it together and put it in a blender and make a smoothie out of it. Okay, so वो बहुत अच्छे से जाएगा. You can think of taking different seeds and, for example, garden cress seeds, very rich in iron. Halim, it is called. When the dal is being served, you just have to put 1 or 2 teaspoons in it and just give it a boil, and it's like sabza. It becomes like that, and you can very easily eat. It doesn't have a flavor or anything. Okay? So these are our options post game meals. Some examples here. I'm sure I don't know whether you've had dinner. If you've I hope you've all had dinner. Yeah, early dinners are good, but even in spite of that, I'm sure you'll feel hungry. So chocolate walnut banana smoothie. Okay, so you're combining nut and fruits. Muskmelon and egg pudding can be made. Okay, fruit purees can be added to milk, and then milk cooled, and we beat eggs into it and steam it. Okay, or you can microwave it. Very simple recipe. Soya granule chocolate kheer with almond powder, nuts and date balls, carrot pomegranate juice, pancakes of ragi and coconut, lovely medium chain triglycerides for us to have it better performance beautifully. A turmeric, turmeric and pepper added in milk. All right, you can add some saffron if you want. Turmeric always works well when you add pepper, the absorption is better. Beetroot juice, amla, lime, orange, and guava juice for the vitamin C. Very important thing for us to know is if we want to make muscle without vitamin C, we cannot make it. So always post the game when you are taking the protein, some vitamin C like an orange or guava. Guava is in season currently, is excellent for you to take for the vitamin C. Okay. Now there are performance adjuncts also, and we can look at it. What are the usual ones? We did talk about it briefly earlier. I'm just bringing it to your notice here, and that is protein supplements can be taken. Okay, I have already spoken about it. Multivitamin, multimineral cover. Okay, because sometimes our child may not be able to eat as well, and there are days when the vitamin mineral is missed. Okay, so as a precaution, 100% recommended dietary allowance is something you can start with. You can talk to your dietitian or your doctor to see a good prescription for a pediatric prescription. You can't give an adult prescription till 12 years. Okay, vitamin C and zinc, extremely important. Zinc is important for new cell development, and vitamin C I already spoke about. Right now, everything is available as gummies and chewables, and they taste good, and so these are possibilities, of course. Omega-3 is important. And if fatigue is there, please test for anemia. Okay, because it's seen that it's not only girls, but also boys who suffer from anemia, especially because athletes are using up a lot of iron. And if they're not replenishing it, then we may see anemia. But we remember that it is food which is the most important. Okay, so supplements, the word supplement means we supplement the diet with it. Okay, so it's not the idea is not ki haan chalo matlab khane mein kuch bhi chalega because I'm taking that vitamin mineral. No. Okay, so that's not going to work. So you're supplementing it. Food is always first, and supplements as required, and a nutritionist advice will be great for that, to see whether you require it and how much is required. Caffeine is something which could be used for adolescents. Okay, we will not use it for anyone below 13 years of age, but coffee could be looked at. But look at the amounts, okay? Because caffeine does improve alertness and performance, but 1 teaspoon, okay, it's not a strong coffee at all. So adolescents, yeah, you can use it. Let it not be a caffeine extract. We are talking of coffee. See, what happens is if you look at energy drinks or some sports drinks, it's actual caffeine. It's not coffee that is added. Okay, so you do understand that if I'm going to add 1 teaspoon coffee powder, the caffeine is less. All right, but if there is already as extract caffeine present, the effect is more. So we're not talking of caffeine. We're talking of coffee which contains caffeine, and that can help improve alertness and performance. So you could use it before the pre-training and pre-game. That's one thing which we have. Okay, so I'm just reminding ourselves of our affirmations that, for the champion, we renew the commitment to our body, and we build our body, and we nourish ourselves, and we choose health, and we choose nutrition. And affirmations for the caregiver, that we are there to support the child's football journey, and we are committed to supporting the child's performance, and kitchen is to be a beautiful place. And I want to tell the caregiver that I mean, it's really, we are in admiration of all the caregivers of the champions, because this is not easy at all to take your child to multiple practice sessions far away, and juggling home and juggling office, and then ensuring that the nutrition is adequate or not. It is tough. Okay, so salute to each one of you who is doing that. And when we talk of, making the kitchen a bustling place, I think the best way to do it is not take the entire responsibility on yourself, but give some responsibility to the adolescents, especially give responsibility to somebody else at home also, because otherwise it's not sustainable. Do use help for Okay, so we have to be a little open-minded and smart about this. So do have help for your kitchens, at least somebody who will come and do all the pre-preparations, so that you can do this. Otherwise, आप 4 दिन के लिए करोगे, and then it's just not. If you're at home, maybe you may have a little bit more time, apart from everything else you're doing. But if you are a working woman, it is very tough. And what is our role? Okay, I'll just take a minute here on this for the caregivers. Our role is to ensure that what is required is done in the house. Okay, so that's how humans have evolved. Our role is not always standing in the kitchen and cooking. So if you're able to organize it with your cook or with your help, who will do everything else, which is a no-brainer, chopping, cutting, banana, but your brains is used in designing what you want to give, right? And you must take help of nutritionists, post-nutritionists, consultations, and so on, so that you are able to do all the things we are talking about. Okay, so very important, and that we will not choose wrong for the footballer in our care. So of course, the vision for us to hold on to is to have trained, nourished, unstoppable champions who are committed. And I will repeat again for us that we do have some special tools that we have made, and which is up for purchase. So we call it the set, or the self-empowerment tools. And what we have done here is, we have multiple videos and meal plans and resources. So we're going to send that link to you if you wish to purchase it. The normal price is, we offer it for 5,999. Sorry. And we have a one-on-one consultations also available, because it's tailor-made for your champions, and you can to subscribe to it today itself. You can pay and book it, and we'll be giving you that link also. That is also priced at 5,999. Then we have an offer price that is for rupees 8,000. Right now it's an offer price. We otherwise offer it for almost 12,000. So right now this is the offer price. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be sending the links of these in the chat, and you can avail of our discount if you book it today. And the next week you can. But today there's a nice discount, and the next week also there's a slight discount. After that, it's open for the regular price. But everything that we have spoken about today is, going to is a start, right? But if you have more tools with you, it is something that you're going to be taking ahead in the nice way. So this is a self-empowerment tool, which is which has about 14 to 15 videos, some files, meal plans, resources. We have some recipes specifically for post game and, breakfast and so on. You can purchase immediately. We have created an offer for SSC for rupees 4,000 if it is today you're purchasing it. And we have one-on-one consultations also, which the link I am sending. Okay, so I'm just stopping share right now. Just give me a moment. Yeah, you can talk. Just give me a moment while I paste the link. Okay, now this link is for both the set and the consultation. This link is for both of it together. Okay, so if you wish to purchase, you could do that. So please pay attention to the link which is there. Next, I am sending you the link for sets, okay, which is self-empowerment tool. So you're learning it on your own. Your champs and the caregivers both can sit together and learn, or learn in your at your time. So this is a link I'm sending of only the sets, okay, and yeah. Okay, so the one I've sent right now is only of the set. And the third one that I'm sending is only of the consultation. All right, just give me a moment. So, and once I'm just done with this, and we can take all the questions that you have. So, there are three. So these are the three links that we have sent to you. And you know, we are hoping that you all will be taking, you know, for full use, making full use of a discount today as well as in this coming week, and you will be empowered enough you know, to do the best that is possible. So because what we are performing, you know, the performance is dependent on three things. One is the genius that we are inheriting. That is what's the muscle structure like, and how we are built, and what is the talent we have. The second thing is a training which is done, which you all are doing beautifully. Coaches are training you so well, you know, for the champions and the caregivers. But the third part is nutrition. And many times we pay attention to the training a lot, but the nutrition is not looked at. And even if you look at it, I see now this is a webinar which you are you know, coming for. You will remember it for some time, and then you, I hope not, but you know, it tends to fade from our memory. But if you have a tool with you and some more handholding with you, you will be empowered enough to take it long term, and that will make a big difference. Okay, so so that's all from, you know, that's all from the you know, the discussion part of it. So we will take questions, but I just want to say one thing, that you know, we have last time requested for a review from y'all. Okay, and I'm just pasting the link for the review also in the chat. So we've asked for a review from you, and we're very happy to receive 5-star reviews, a bunch of them. 5-star ratings we have received. Okay, so thank you very much to everybody who has, and they've all been very, you know, appreciative, and it gives us a lot of good feeling, because we work very hard for bettering sports nutrition for footballers and other athletes. So that's really nice, and we are very happy and appreciative of that. But it was a, you know, we all are so many, but we still got only a smaller bunch. So I'm requesting, this is the for the rating and the review. Do write a review too, and do give us a 5-star rating if you think that we have helped you in the process. So now we are ready to take questions, and you may unmute and speak. I know Arpreet sir had a question last time which we had not addressed because of lack of time. We have 10-15 minutes to discuss. So yeah, the platform is all yours. Yeah, you're able to hear me and you all are there, right? So go ahead and you can ask the questions as required. Okay. What do you think about Sattu drink post matches? Yeah, Sattu drink is fine, It does give a amount of carbohydrate also, and it also gives an amount of protein, and it gives electrolytes. So it's a good choice. However, it will not give the quantum. If it's an adolescent who is playing a 90-minute game, it will not give the quantum of protein that is required. So while sattu drink is good pre-game. Okay, so that lighter carbohydrate that you want to give, it's good there. Post also it is good, but you have to replenish the protein with something more. Okay, so I'm just closing. I'm just opening the chat in a bigger way so that I'm able to see it well. Right. So I hope I have answered your question, Ms. Surana. Okay. That Sattu is good. Pre-game also you can give, and post-game also you can give, but some more protein will be required, and the fluid replenishment has to be also done in a good way. Okay. So that's something that we look at. So 1 minute. All right. So I'm just going to take a minute to stop the recording.